Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show with me, Kavita Thapliyal. And before we move on, this is our WhatsApp number and email ID where you can send us your queries, 865-797-4571. And that's the email ID, themoneyshow@etnow.tv. So we wait for your queries on this number and email ID. So time to take our investor queries because there are plethora of funds available in the market to invest your hard-earned money in. But how do you assess which is the right fund for your portfolio? What are the criteria that one should look at? To solve this, today I have Aditya Shah, Chief Investment Officer, Please Investment with me. And Aditya, good evening and welcome to the show. We have our first question, which is from Preetham Bose, West Bengal. And Preetham says that he is 28 years old and wants to have a long-term investment portfolio, and he wants to invest till the age of 60, and he wants to understand if he can go ahead with the strategy in mutual funds. So clearly a fresh investor and wanting to start his investment journey via mutual funds. What would be the few basic thumb rules that you might want to recommend? And then we'll go, we will also talk about the kind of funds that he should be having in the portfolio. But then to just start off with, what would be your advice?
First of all, my advice would be it's good that you started at a very young age. So kudos to you for that. But now here comes the tough part. Point number one, you have to discipline. You have to be very disciplined and very consistent in your SIPs. Try to invest for 32 years every month some bit of money. The first point. Second point is whatever. Why are you investing is a very important question that you need to ask yourself. You should design some goals to which you should attach your investment. That could be retirement, that could be your marriage, that could be buying a house, or that could also be buying a car. Those goals need to be decided and start investing for those goals. You have a long period of time, so long years of compounding are there with you. I have decided to stick with 4 funds per se. Those 4 funds are Parag Parek Flexi Cap Fund, Canara Robeco Small Cap Fund, UTI Nifty Next 50 Fund, and Motilal Nasdaq 100 Fund. All of these funds diversify your investments into small cap, flexi cap, as well as a US fund, so that all 4 funds are diversified and you don't have a problem for it. So A, link your investments to some goals. B, be very consistent and be very disciplined. Markets may move up and down, but you don't have to stop your investments per se. And the third point is that invest consistently in all of these funds and don't stop your SIP. So if you do all of these things, there should be no problem per se.
All right. Okay, the kind of funds that you're recommending, any specific reason why you would want Preetham to invest in those funds?
See, I have given a small cap fund because the time horizon is nearly about 30 years. So 30 years, a small cap fund will do exceptionally well. And then some flexi cap funds I have introduced, where flexi cap fund will try to control the risk. So I have measured growth with trying to control the risk, as well as from a diversification perspective. I have tried to invest in the United States as well, where all innovator companies are there, and mutual funds provide a good option to go ahead and invest there. So all in all, a very diversified portfolio while trying to control the risk per se.
All right, so Parag Parek Flexi Cap and Canara Robeco Blue Chip is small cap is what you're recommending. But for someone who is new in the world of investment, do you really want him to have a net small cap fund in their portfolio?
No, ma'am. I have asked for 4 funds. Those 4 funds would be PPFS Flexi Cap, Canara Robeco Small Cap, UTI Nifty Next 50 Index Fund, and Motilal Nasdaq 100 Fund. So 4 funds. And yes, I will want the investor to slowly and steadily start investing in the small cap fund, purely from the fact that she has got a very long time horizon per se, and she is very, very young, 28 years of age. The investor is very, very young, 28 years of age. So slowly and steadily, he must start to invest in the small cap fund. Small amounts he can start to invest, and he will find that over the period of next 10 to 15 years, he will be able to generate huge amounts of wealth because of the nature of small caps in India.
All right, we move on. Our next question is from Praveen, and Praveen says the goal is to build wealth for retirement till next 15 years. And the kind of funds he has in his portfolio are Parag Parek Flexi Cap, Kotak Emerging Equity, Quant Mid Cap, Nippon India Small Cap, and Quant Small Cap, also ICICI Nasdaq 100 Index Fund. And Praveen has been doing SIP in all these funds. Okay, so quite a balanced portfolio for 15 years. What would you say? Although we don't have the amount that he would want to accumulate in 15 years, but then first let's review the funds and then later on I'll question you about the corpus.
So the investor is leaning towards some small cap funds. That is not required per se. The small cap exposure must be balanced with a flexi cap and a large cap approach per se. So what I have tried to do is I have tried to simplify the portfolio into PPFAS flexi cap fund, Nippon small cap fund, and Kotak emerging equity fund. All of these three funds are inside his portfolio. From all other funds, he should consolidate his holding into all of these three funds. Too many small cap funds also spoil the party because already these small cap funds, for example, the Nippon small cap fund holds 193 stocks. So you're not required to hold two or three funds per se within the small cap space. So these three funds, PPFS Flexi Cap Fund, Nippon Small Cap Fund, and Kotak Emerging Equity Fund, all three funds in your portfolio, split your SIP equally into all of these three funds, and you should be really doing fine.
All right. Talking about the kind of corpus that's most likely to be accumulated in 15 years, how would you evaluate that with what kind of CAGR?
So, the blended CAGR should be around, the target should be around 10 to 12%. That's a minimal return that you can expect. The higher return that you get, it is better. But for the base expectations, you should always take a CAGR of about 10 to 12%. We have seen that the Nifty, our index has compounded at about 9.2%. And to have a 10 to 12% return expectation will be a very sane expectation to have. Basis this, you should be creating a target for your retirement. The gentleman has not created any target for his retirement. So per se, that's the first step that he needs to take. Calculate what amount of corpus that he would require on retirement.
All right, we move on and we'll take the next question from Rashi. Rashi says that she's 41 years old, invests in large cap, large and mid, small cap ELSS, mainly for wealth creation to take care of inflation. And she's been investing 15,000 per month, wants a corpus of 3 crores in 10 years' time. So she wants to understand if she needs to add in any fund in her portfolio. Just a basic calculation for 3 crores in what 10 years. What should be the approximate investable amount every month, Aditya?
Ma'am, this is a very, very steep goal that she has taken. If I assume a 10 to 12% return, and if I calculate she wants 3 crore in 10 years, she will have to do an SIP of 1.5 lakhs, which is 10x the amount that she's wanting. She's doing an SIP today. So there can be two options. She has to elongate her time horizon at least to next 15 to 20 years, or increase the SIP. Still, the SIP amount will not be what she needs to do. So, in my opinion, the only option that is left is to elongate the time horizon at least to the next 15 to 20 years per se. And she is not given per se in which funds she is investing. So, very difficult to gauge or give her any idea. I don't even know her SIP split per se. So, I will suggest to her that build a portfolio of a flexi cap fund. If you have a time horizon of 10 years, I will not suggest you to go to a small cap fund. A flexi cap fund together with a large cap fund should be okay for you at this stage.
Why no to a small cap fund for 10 years?
Sorry, ma'am, I could not understand your question.
So for 10 years, you said you wouldn't recommend a small cap.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So today, given the valuations,
Okay.
and given the fact that from the sixth, seventh, eighth year she will like to protect her money, I will not recommend anybody to invest at least with a 10-year time horizon. 15 maximum, minimum 15 years of time horizon will be required for a small cap fund to get a good CAGR on your portfolio, given the risk that the small cap funds really run.
All right, and also, would you also elaborate on having an ELSS fund? Now, if tax saving is the purpose, and that is the reason why you want an ELSS fund, then it makes sense. But otherwise, if there is no intention of saving tax via mutual funds, should you be having ELSS in your fund, in your portfolio, or there could be another fund which could give the benefit of diversification, also add to your financial goal?
Ma'am, ELSS introduces lock-in. ELSS funds have 3 years of lock-in into from the date of investment. So if you're not saving for the purpose of tax, you should be nowhere close to ELSS funds. You should be more into a Flexi Cap fund where the Flexi Cap fund manager has a pure play mandate to invest anywhere in the market. And if your risk profile is even lower, then you should be into large cap index funds per se. But ELSS funds only and only for tax saving purposes, for nothing else per se.
All right. Now, comparing between a flexi cap and a multi cap, can both be in the portfolio, or flexi cap is one category that can be looked at because the fund manager has the freedom to have allocation across market caps?
I both can be inside the portfolio, no problem per se. But generally, flexi cap funds are really preferred because it gives a lot of flexibility to the fund manager as to how will they invest. For example, the Parag Parag flexi cap fund now has a large cap bias per se because they feel that the large caps do have some value in the market and they want to position themselves there. So a flexi cap fund would be number one choice, but a multi cap fund is also okay, and there's no problem per se there as well.
All right, so that's the advice coming in. But then we move on, and we will take Diksha's question. Diksha is investing 5,000 per month in mutual funds, and the kind of portfolio details that we have from Diksha. She has HDFC mid cap opportunity, she has SBI small cap, HDFC flexi cap, and she wants to add SBI Contra and Nippon India small cap going forward. And she says she's 23 years old and is willing to invest for 10 to 15 years or even more. And she will also have a step up SIP as her income increases. And she wants to know if this is a long term wealth creation portfolio. So, Diksha, first of all, congratulations. You're 23 years old. You believe in having a long-term wealth creation portfolio. I think that's the first step in the right direction. And the kind of strategy you have, it's out and out equity aggressive portfolio that you've made, and a good start at this age. Even if this is your first kind of investment that you've done, congratulations. So Aditya, I would really like to understand the growing interest towards SBI Contra fund. You know, it's not only Diksha but a lot of other people also. A lot of questions that we get normally. SBI Contra is a kind of fund that people are interested in having. Just explain us the fund first, what exactly and how exactly it is.
Ma'am, what it will try to do is it will try to go and invest in stocks, in contra stocks, where the market is not favoring those stocks and those companies are taking some short-term pains per se. It's a highly risky fund, and only those people who have a very high risk tolerance should go ahead and invest in these funds per se. Over a longer period of time, these funds do have a higher return, but the risk that these funds are also taking is higher. So that is something that you need to calculate before you try to go ahead and invest in these funds. Per se for Diksha, I'm very happy that at the age of 23, she's going ahead and investing in the market. The first thing that she needs to consider is that she does not have to invest for 10, 15 years. But if she is able to invest for the next 20 to 25 years, given her age, she will do brilliantly well per se. Now she's got an SIP of just 5,000 rupees and she's already got 3 funds and she wants to introduce 2 more funds. I will suggest that you should not be introducing any more funds per se, and you should be continuing with the 3 funds that you have got: HDFC Flexi Cap Fund, SBI Small Cap Fund, and HDFC Mid Cap Opportunities Fund. These 3 funds are good funds and you should be continuing in these funds. There's no need per se to add any contra fund or any other small cap fund. In these 3 funds, try to increase your SIP, step up your SIP, and go into any new fund only after you have at least invested 10,000 of SIP every month into all of these 3 funds, which will take certain amount of time for you. So continue with these 3 funds, stay very disciplined and consistent, and not don't maintain a time horizon of 10 to 15 years. Try to maintain a time horizon of at least 20 to 25 years, given the fact that you are very young and you have a long earning cycle ahead of you.
All right, Aditya, that will be Diksha's portfolio, and with that, it's a wrap. Thank you so much for being on the show and helping our viewers with their financial portfolio queries. And before I sign off, I'm going to leave you with our WhatsApp number, which is 865-797-4571. Email ID, themoneyshow@etnow.tv. That's the place where you can send us your portfolio queries, and we will get your queries answered by our experts live on the show. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.